game day.
It is. We're in our Lindale attire.
Yeah, we're ready. Doubleheader today.
Yeah. I love watching volleyball, not just because our daughter's playing, but like we'll even watch it on TV now, watch college games or whatever, even some pro games. I think I realized that one of the things I enjoy about it the most is that the athletes are just playing the game.
Yeah.
It's happening so fast. It's just a quick paced game that there's not really a lot of coaching interaction that happens in action. So like they may give a little sign of where they want the serve to go. Maybe in a timeout or something, they talk about what they want the first play to be, the first pass and set. But besides that, it's moving so fast that we're all just get to watch.
Yeah.
So literally the athletes applying what they've practiced.
In real time.
Yeah. Whereas a sport like baseball or like a football, it's so heavy on coach interaction. The coaches have their hands on so many things in a game.
So much say over what happens or like what happens next.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of like, why do I enjoy watching it so much? And I realized like that's a big difference between the two sports, baseball and football, or baseball and volleyball.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just, like you said, it's fast paced. I think the only time it's ever boring is when it's just mismatched teams.
Yeah.
And one just is slaughtering the other. Like, and even then it's not really boring because the plays are still exciting, but.
Yeah, that happens a lot in youth baseball too. I think the higher up you go, it doesn't happen as often. I mean, you still may get, even in the big leagues, you still may have a team that just gets beat way too much. Especially for how good those athletes are, but it still happens at all levels, but it's extreme at like high school and lower.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's even some college ball that happens that way, but
yeah. Okay, let's get into our first topic, I guess. We've got 20 reminders for coaches.
Okay.
I feel like this is also something you're very passionate about.
Yeah.
How coaches, not like, I want to say how they coach, just they're interacting with their athletes. Like there's definitely a right way and a wrong way, but there's lots of ways in between all of that.
I started playing when I was probably 5 or 6. And,
like T-ball age.
Yeah, and played through my early 30s and then went right into coaching from there. And so I played for a lot of different coaches. And then after I was done playing. At a lot
of different levels.
Yeah, and after I was done playing, I went into coaching and I coached with a lot of different coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And now being on this side, on the youth side with what I get to do, the kids I work with, the parents might be coaches. I spend some time out there helping other coaches do what they do. I've spoken at coaches conventions. So getting to interact with all these different men out there doing that job and women and, conversing with them, hearing about how they do things. It's very important kind of how they go about it. And there's so many different ways to do it. But along with all the really good things that happen, there's a lot of not good things that happen.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to focus on a lot of the negative stuff. So like a lot of the stuff on this list are like reminders like, hey, this is what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
We took on this role because of this purpose. Let's not forget about a lot of the stuff, whether it's development, whether it's helping kids enjoy the game, whether it's we want to be just leaders in their lives, mentors, like has to do with a lot of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a lot of coaches that do it really well. And there's also a lot of coaches that have a lot of holes in what they do.
So would you say this list is mainly for like more youth?
No.
Okay.
Just
coaches.
In general. I mean, I had some coaches in pro ball that could definitely benefit from some of the things on this list.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Well, let's start. So the first thing on the list is be prepared to repeat yourself. Empathy towards their age, maturity level, and aptitude is required.
Okay, so obviously this one's more towards children, even high school. I call high schooler children, right? They're just big kids. So as coaches, we need to always remember where they're at. Remember, some of them are pre-puberty, some are in puberty, some are just post-puberty.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that we as coaches remember what we were like, or try to remember what we were like when we were this age. A lot of the stuff that we get bothered with when it comes to kids are the exact things that our coaches and parents got annoyed with us about.
It's the cycle.
It is the cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of adults forget that. They expect these kids to behave a certain way, and we want them to. We're pushing them to. We're teaching them how to behave, how to do things, how to work hard. We're teaching them how to do all this stuff, but we also have to understand how long the process took for us to get to where we finally got to.
And their maturity is not based on their physical size, by the
No,
way.
no.
Like if you've got like that really big kid, but he's still only 16, like
Yeah.
he's only 16 up
Mhm,
here.
yeah.
Like it's, you know,
Well, the expectations when you get to those high school ages should be more. They should
No,
be.
it
'Cause
should be
Like
more.
reality is within a couple years, these kids are going to be members of society.
but I
like-
feel like some people, they expect more maturity out of somebody who like is physically bigger
Yeah, I
than
see what you're saying.
other kids,
Yeah.
which I guess would be, I don't know, because you just associate a bigger person as older,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that just, it isn't the case.
There's kids I've worked with over the years that they are so big for their age
Mhm.
that I have to remind myself,
Yeah.
like when I'm talking with them and it's
Like he's only 14.
he's 14 or like he's 12 and he's huge.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to him like he's older, but the way that he's processing things is like he's younger.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself of that. Sometimes I even get caught up in how I converse with and how I expect them to respond when
Mhm.
they're just not there yet.
I remember Brookie and I were out somewhere, probably at Walmart, and somebody, of course, she's so tall. Somebody, and walking next to me looks even taller. And somebody asked if she was going into college. And she was like literally going to start her freshman or maybe her sophomore year in high school.
Yeah.
But just her stature just made her seem way older than she actually was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it can be like a natural thing.
Yeah, but to get to that one again,
Sorry.
we as coaches have to remember who's in front of us,
Yeah.
where they're at in life, where they're at in development, where they're at with puberty, and not get too caught up in what's happening in that moment, and even understand that these kids' home lives can all be different.
Yeah.
You know,
we can talk about that in a little bit on here too.
Yeah, we cannot underestimate what happens when they leave us.
Yeah.
Like there's kids that when a game is over, a tournament, they dread that car ride home.
Yeah.
And we have to understand
Well, especially
that.
if it didn't go well.
Yeah, we have to understand that. And we might be the only person in that kid's life that is a positive impact, could be a positive
Yeah.
mentor. So we take again, I've talked about this before, we take the game way too serious.
Yeah.
Like it honestly is all about those kids. What do they need from us to help them achieve whatever they want to achieve, at the same time teaching them how to be good people?
Yeah. It's like teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, be an expert at communicating. No fluff. If we say it, we better follow through. And when plans change, there needs to be a clear reason as to why communicated.
Coaches are notorious for having a plan,
Mm-hmm.
verbalizing the plan, saying it, and then when things get going for whatever reason, plans change and there's no communication as to why. And we all know with all of us, even adults, even if we're at a job and we're told something's going to happen and it doesn't, our minds wander.
Mhm.
That happens to us as adults. We know it's going to happen to kids.
Yeah.
Kids, it's going to be even worse. So we have to be really good at communicating. Even if we don't think it's maybe necessary, we probably should.
And
Well-
it takes a half a second.
It doesn't take long, and
Yeah.
sometimes it might not be a comfortable message to give, a comfortable reason why, but we still need to respect them, even though they're kids. We still need to respect them and their emotions or feelings or mental stability, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. 3rd on the list, be the type of student we want them to be. There's always something to get better at. There are more ways to do it than what worked for us.
Whatever we did as athletes when we were younger that helped us succeed does not mean that will work for every athlete out there. I got caught in this trap when
Or that's the only way.
I got caught in this trap when I first started coaching, that I was a guy, my delivery pace was a little bit quicker. I like to work quick in the game. So I thought, man, it worked for me. It's going to work for everybody. And I remember it took about a month before I realized that that's just not how everybody is made.
Yeah.
So I had to change kind of my approach and my thought process when it came to understanding more ways to do the game, more ways to play the game, more ways to coach the game. It's not just what worked for me.
Yeah. There's more than one right way.
Mm-hmm.
Team culture and atmosphere starts with us. The standards we set, what we allow, and how we handle it when something happens that will affect that.
Our body language, our attitude, what we allow, what we don't allow, the example we set right from the beginning, holding players accountable, holding them all accountable, no matter who they are, who they're related to,
Yeah.
who donated more money, whose parents are on some board. Coaches will lose players, they'll lose families, they'll lose respect from everybody when they let politics get in the game. And it happens at all levels. And there's a lot of coaches out there that lose respect for these reasons. And a lot of them are caught in a tough place. They're really close with somebody. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, right? Everything about feelings. Yeah. So I understand where it comes from sometimes, but that culture, you got to be a straight shooter. You got to treat everybody the same. You got to handle yourself the same and, set it from day one. Set standards and culture from day one. This is how we're going to do things, and you got to stick with it.
Hold yourself accountable when it comes to that stuff. Okay, number 5, be organized. Never show up without a plan. Be prepared for an audible at any point, but never get caught not ready.
So showing up to a practice with no plan, showing up to a game with no lineup ready, this is where coaches get in trouble. And when you're unorganized, you get
chaos
into a season, you get into a game, chaos can happen. Something happens in the moment, your pitcher's struggling, and you don't have a plan for who your next relievers are, and all of a sudden you're scrambling and you're not able to get a kid in the bullpen to warm up in time. That's on you, coach. You showed up not ready. Unfortunately, a lot of times when this stuff happens, the coaches look to players' performance for their lack of being prepared. Yeah. And it's an unhealthy way to coach, but there's a lot out there that do it, and usually those situations end up not very good.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I did that when I coached Brickies.
T-ball
and coach pitch. Yeah.
Not ready.
Yeah. It was too much. But they're little. It's a lot to take on.
That's organized chaos.
I think I had to call you and externally process and write out my lineup and move people around on the field. Cause when they're little like that, you don't put them at the same position every inning. So I just needed some help. Okay. Number 6, lead by example. They're always watching. They will emulate our behavior.
Okay, so I said this a little bit in the last one.
Just like parenting.
Again, body language, how you respond to umpires, how you handle when things aren't going good. Coaches with bad body language throwing their hands up in the air, making comments about the umpires. Every kid in that dugout's going to see that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're all going to be doing the same sort of stuff.
And even if it's just a little seed planted, even if they aren't immediately emulating what you just did, it's, but it's just like parenting.
Yeah, the umpire one is the worst one. Once you get coaches and to be honest, all the adults, whether it's adult parents at home talking about it, having poor body language and making comments to and about the umpires, literally now you're going to have a dugout full of players that is what they do now. The whole rest of that game, that's all the kids are going to do is focus on every call that an umpire makes. And the adults don't realize how toxic their behavior and energy towards umpires is in youth baseball. It is crazy.
Well, it's like gossiping about other players in the car on the way home or outside of it or whatever. It's the minute you start saying, well, little Joey just made so many errors. I can't, it's like you really got to pump. It's super easy to get caught up in talk like that. And we're all guilty of it at one point or another, but you can't do that.
We've talked about it before, and we teach accountability. We're trying to get these kids to understand to control what they can control. And then in literally the next moment, we do things to focus on all the uncontrollables.
Yeah.
That back and forth of the emotions is so harmful to player development, more mentally than anything, but it's so harmful. And the adults who are supposed to be the smart and mature ones often don't realize what's happening.
Yeah.
They're so caught up in the moment of whatever is happening. The competitive side of them is just coming out and they can't handle it.
Yeah. Number 7, if we want their trust, we have to gain it. How we talk to them, how we talk with them, how we follow through, and how we hold them all accountable, no matter who they are, who their parents are, or how talented they are.
So I already touched on this, but I'll say this. When the season starts, it starts with trust. Just because of your title as coach.
Yes.
You're going to walk into that situation, new season, a lot of new families, new faces, new minds, new ears. It starts with trust. And then from there, it's up to the coach to keep it.
Yeah.
And that is going to be done by how they handle themselves.
Yeah. Number 8, this is a good one. No standing around at practices. Find ways to keep everyone moving and no long lines in drills.
Old school, we grew up with coaches who would have a line of players at shortstop, have them standing at home plate, hit one ground ball to a player, they go to the back of line, and next thing you know, we've spent 20 minutes on taking ground balls at shortstop, and every player has seen 5 ground balls. There are a lot more efficient ways to run practices with stations, with groups. Even if there's just one coach, hopefully you have 2 or 3 coaches, but even if there's just one, you can do it and there's just player ran stations. But it should never be one kid hitting, one coach throwing batting practice, and everybody else is standing around shagging balls. We have limited time with our players, 1.5 hours, 2-hour practices, once, maybe twice a week, maybe sometimes 3. We have to be way more creative in how to get in as much work as possible.
Yeah. Number 9, the game is relatable to life in many ways. Always be looking for ways to help them develop their character through it. This is like one of the main reasons why you should play team sports growing up.
Yeah. Character is who we are as a person. And the game offers so many opportunities to do things to work on all those little things, whether it's how to handle failure, how to be a good teammate, work ethic, develop some courage for maybe a kid who struggles with staying in the box, just scared of getting hit with the pitch. There's so many different things. And I mean, I have a workbook on this specific thing, life and leadership, that talks about all these different topics. But as coaches, again, this sort of thing is way bigger than the game is, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game is the game. It's a temporary part of these kids' lives, but there are so many little ways that we could use the game to help prepare them for life and developing them as people.
It's like we talked about, I think probably just in the last episode that we did, having them communicating with one another, even if it's just a pitcher and catcher. Mm-hmm. Their minds are doing the thinking and they're figuring out how to communicate effectively with one another so that they, like if they were not on the same page, now they are, and things are clear, and then they get back to work. Like communication and being able to communicate to someone without some type of emotional flare up or blaming or whatever is so important. You have to know how to communicate in life. And it's, there's just, you got to zoom out on some of this stuff. Okay, number 10, never forget this is a game. They will only get to play it for a short period in their lives. We're here to teach it to them and help them enjoy it. Make it a memorable phase for them.
Okay, so let's say kids get to play till they're 18.
Okay.
And they started when they were 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally 13 years.
Of their whole life.
Let's say they live to be 80.
Yeah.
13 years of 80. That's it.
Yeah.
And we take it so serious. We take the wins and losses so hard, so serious, when the reality is it is one of the most temporary things in these kids' lives that most of them, a few of them will get to play longer than high school. Mm-hmm. A lot of these kids won't even play into high school.
Yeah.
So some of them, you're talking a single digit number that they'll get to play this game.
Yeah.
So we need to be very careful about putting the game above what it really is, and it's an experience. It's an experience, a time in these kids' lives where they get to enjoy something physical, something where they interact with other people, other kids, and we need to take that part more serious than what the results are. Now, there's a lot of people out there to say that if we want these kids to enjoy it, that means they have to win. There might be an argument to that, right? If kids are constantly losing, they're going to lose interest in the game.
Fun. Yeah.
So we have to find a way to win, and that's a part of development. Like we teach kids how to play the game. They get good at playing the game. We win more games. Period.
Yeah.
That we're going to lose some too, but we'll win more throughout that process of teaching them the game.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's what it is. We're there to teach them the game.
Yeah.
We're there to help them enjoy this very short, temporary part of their life.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my memories of high school volleyball, even going back to freshman year. There's literally one game out of the 3 years that I played volleyball that I remember. And it's only because we beat a big time rival that we hadn't beaten. So it was very exciting. Mm-hmm. But honestly, any other game, even I think we made it to like the postseason my senior year. I don't think we made it very far, but still, like, I don't know. We won enough to make it to the postseason, but I cannot tell you about any other game at any other time that I participated in at all. And that was 30 years ago. Like there's been so much time between then that I had not played, that it just like proves your point that it is such a short phase in their lives.
But you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you know that you enjoyed it. And now getting to watch your daughter play you are getting those feelings back of how much you enjoyed that sport.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. The results of these games that the adults lose their mind over and they hold on to the results, 20 years from now, I'm telling you, these
They're not
kids,
gonna remember.
they will not remember, but they're going to remember whether they enjoyed the game or they didn't enjoy it.
Like it seems like you'll remember because you're in it
Yeah.
and the feelings are fresh, or even like you remember the tournament or a game from last season. You
Yeah.
still remember that was only a year ago. Get 30 years down the road and tell me if you remember.
I think I totaled it up once, and I think I was in the dugout in professional baseball, not even high school or younger. Maybe that number, it was 3,400. So I don't,
Okay.
that might have been for my whole life.
Okay.
But like 3,400 games I've been in the dugout for.
Whatever you were keeping track of, the total was 3,400.
I do not remember the score of any of those games.
Right.
Not one score. I mean, I could maybe really dig down deep in my mind, try to remember one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you one.
I was just going to say your memory's
I
jogged
was
here
pitching
in a
in
sec.
one game and we lost 2-1.
Okay.
Or no, we lost 1-0 and I gave up one unearned run. I think I've talked about that before.
Okay.
But that's, I mean, I don't
That
really,
was in professional?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, I don't remember the results. I don't remember
Right.
my personal performance.
You're
I don't
not
remember
still
how my
carrying that around.
teammates, there's way more to life than what those results were.
Yeah.
Like so much life has happened since I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I stopped coaching professionally. So much of life has happened that just proves that like the game is the game. It's
Yeah.
not everything.
It's a moment in time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's a 3-hour moment in time, but
Like we do all this stuff to practice and get really good at it. So when we are in the game, we can do the best we can do, but we spend way more time in life, not on a field.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Coach confidence. If the goal is to get the most out of the players, they need to believe. Everything we do needs to be done with this in mind.
So coaching confidence means that everything that we do, our approach to coaching, how we relate to the kids, how we respond to their failures, how we respond to their success, we're teaching them how to process all of it. And for players to go out there and compete at their best ability, they have to believe in that moment. They have to believe in themselves. They have to trust in what they're about to do. And when they don't have a good moment, we want them to learn how to be in the right place mentally to have success in the next moment. So everything we're doing is trying to teach them, one, how to get really good with how they use their body,
Mm-hmm.
but two, what's going on in their brain is even more important than how their body works. So it's a constant focus on how do we train them how to think. We need to teach them how to think and how to feel about what they're doing to help them have as much success as possible.
And coaching confidence doesn't mean you're just constantly gassing them up and
No.
being rah-rah cheerleader.
No.
Like that's encouraging,
No.
but it's not coaching. But I think some people might get it, mixed up. Like
Yeah.
coaching confidence doesn't mean you only ever give positive feedback and you're never negative. Like coaching confidence to me means like a big component of it is teaching them how to deal with when there is a failure so that they can go back and hopefully like a strikeout, or something like that.
Coaching confidence is teaching them how to make an adjustment. Like if something's not going good, I need them to be able to slow down mentally so that in that moment they can think about what do I need to do different on this next swing or on this next pitch to have more success, right? So I'm teaching them how to trust in themselves and believe in themselves that they can have a moment of failure and make a quick adjustment and be good in the next moment. Like it's not, and talking about what we do, what we've failed at, there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean,
Right.
when I tell kids, I ask them, how many home runs do you think I gave up in my career? They have no idea. Like they'll say like 5. I'm like, dude, you're way off. Like try again. I give up over 150 home runs. And they're like, what? Like, but for me to get to where I got to in my career, all those moments had to happen.
Mhm.
Like I had to learn to understand why did I give up that home run? What do I need to change mentally, physically in the next moment to make a better pitch?
Mm-hmm. Okay, next, get them talking. Hear their thoughts before we give ours. When they know they will be asked to speak, we will see more focus and engagement.
I don't know where I learned this. I don't know if I had a coach that did that with us. I don't know if I heard somebody talk about it. I have no idea. But when in a team meeting, and a lot of coaches love to have post-game meetings, in
Mhm.
professional baseball, we always had that meeting before practice the next day.
Okay.
We never really did it after a game, but ask the players questions. So I how I handled my meetings with my pitchers and catchers when we're all in a group is whoever pitched that night before I gave my analysis, before I talked about how I thought it went, I would go down pitcher by pitcher, and you're going to tell us as a group how your performance went. So the first couple times they did it, they weren't, they would kind of fumble through their words. I don't think a lot of them had ever been pushed that way. But as the season went on, these kids knew what to expect. They knew what I was expecting from them. They knew that they were going to have to be prepared to speak. They weren't just going to sit there and just listen to me talk to them all the time, talk at them.
Talk to them about their own performance.
Yeah. And once they did that, it was pretty cool to see them start learning how to evaluate their own performance better. Because they would give at the beginning of the season, they would give us as a group. They would give us their analysis, and then I would give mine. And a lot of times I would also have the catchers, whoever caught that night before, I would have them share to the group what so-and-so did well and what they could be better at. So getting the kids to use their mind, getting them to speak, it may be a little awkward at first, but once they know what to expect and they learn how to use their words and organize their thoughts, it's pretty awesome what can happen, how much growth can happen in a very short period of time.
Yeah. Number 13 is take notes. This is in all caps, by the way. Keep a notepad during games / practice to jot down points to discuss. Don't let those important moments slip through the cracks.
There are so many things that happen throughout a game
especially a baseball game.
Yeah, that need to be talked about. That if we aren't taking notes, if we aren't writing notes, a lot of it will be forgot about.
That's like, I'll remember. No, you won't.
Yeah. Well, a lot of coaches, again, they want to have these meetings right after the game. And unfortunately, a lot of these meetings turn into like a complaining fest for coaches. Like all it is, they would just want to talk about everything negative, which again, in our game, there are so many negative things that happen throughout a game. So many. It's not even funny how many, especially in the youth game.
Yeah.
So take notes, but also when you're taking those notes, make it a point to write down things that went correct or went well.
Yeah.
Even if it is, Johnny in the dugout did a great job of supporting his teammates. Like maybe it was just a brutal game.
Yeah.
Find something to where that meeting afterwards doesn't just turn into where you're just dumping on all these players about everything that they did wrong. They already know it. They know what they screwed up on. Be very careful of being Mr. Negative when it was a bad day. Real quick, a lot of coaches say, well, we've practiced this. We've worked on it so much. It doesn't matter. Those guys on TV, they practice their skills literally every day.
Yeah.
Youth kids, they don't, you have team practice once or twice a week.
Yeah.
These guys on TV get to practice what they do every single day, and they still have bad days, bad series, bad weeks, even bad months. So like we had to be, again, our expectations of what these kids are trying to do, slow down adults.
I was just going to say, it's like that. Coaches should implement that, at least that 24-hour policy, like parents don't contact me about XYZ until it's been 24 hours after whatever. Maybe it's harder with youth because they're not going back to the field the very next day like professionals are. But maybe that's something, that coaches could implement. Like, hey, Johnny, you pitched tonight. We're going to talk about it in next practice. So I want you to be thinking about it, whatever. And then at that next practice, they're starting with that post-game chat.
When we ran our instructional league, I would do the same thing where I would have the kids talk before I give my thoughts. And even the youngest of kids, it works. I've seen it work.
Because coaches are caught up in their emotions too, especially if it was a disastrous game or whatever, the, train came off the track or whatever happened. Like if you don't want emotional parents coming to you right after the game, then you also shouldn't go after your players right after the game. Yeah. If that's what those post-game chats turn into, maybe try a different strategy so that we're not only focusing on the negative. And
there's lots of coaches that are good guys.
Yeah.
They're good coaches, but when it comes down to those meetings, I don't think a lot of them realize what they're doing. It's just all negative.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like the athletes feel like they can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Like there's never praise. There's only,
or maybe there's a little bit like, oh, that was a great, stop.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. That was a great catch at shortstop or whatever. But I know what you're saying. Number 14, make eye contact. Take off your sunglasses. make them take theirs off and position yourself so their back is to the sun.
One of the first things I learned as a professional coach was the sunglass thing. I went out to make a mound visit during spring training and kept my sunglasses on, went out there, came off, and Scott Service was our, I don't remember what his position was, field minor league director or something. Anyways, he pulled me off to the side and he said, hey, when you go out to make a mound visit, make that eye contact, make that connection with them.
Yeah.
And something I had never even thought of.
Yeah.
You're so trying to find ways to connect with them, to get them to relax, to get them to focus. Usually if I'm making a mound visit, there's something bad happening. There's a lot of, they walk some guys, they give up a bunch of hits in a row. They need a little
It's like
breather.
a timeout.
They need a breather. So I'm going out there to disrupt whatever negativity is happening.
Yeah.
So little things like eye contact, little things like putting my hand on their lower back or on their shoulder, human touch naturally relaxes us. Doing things like that to get them kind of in that right place, get that human connection is helpful. And then as far as getting the sun to their back, I'm not sure if you've ever done it before, been in a situation where you're trying to talk to somebody and that sun is in your eye. They're talking to you, but you're like, oh my God, that's so glaring.
And then you're like this, and then you can't see them.
Yeah, so like in your mind is distracted a little bit because of what that sun is doing. So if I'm talking with the players, my sunglasses are off. I'm making eye contact with them. Even though the sun might be in my eyes, I'm going to look down the best I can and to make sure that I'm looking at all of them in the eyes. I also like to, especially if I'm with younger kids, I get down on one knee and I'm getting down to their level.
Yeah.
I don't really like ever standing over athletes. I want to be at their level.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Pitchers and catchers need and deserve dedicated time each week for bullpens and dedicated time for catching fundamentals. Never ignore them. Again, all caps.
So we've talked about this in another episode. I'm not sure why there's a lot of coaches out there. I guess I understand why some people say it's because the coaches just don't understand the positions well enough to teach them. So their unconscious decisions sometimes is just ignore it.
Or there's one coach.
Yeah, but
and he's not going to focus on just 2 kids when there's 10 other kids.
Yeah, but you can have a really detailed catch routine that involve pitching drills, catching drills, flat ground work for pitchers, which is kind of like a mini bullpen on flat ground. And there's things you can do to get it in.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying if there's one guy, he might be thinking, how am I supposed to focus on these 2 when I've got all these other kids out here?
Yeah. Well, and there's often a lack of creativity when it comes to practice planning, where there are coaches that are really good at fitting it all in. And they're usually, if you go watch one of their practices, man, there's a lot of stuff happening all at the same time. And even if they are just one coach, they will get a parent or 2 to help. And oftentimes they're just kind of monitoring. The parents are just monitoring a station or whatever. But you definitely should not be ignoring your 2 most valuable positions on the field.
Next one is we never know what's going on in their life. We get an opportunity to possibly be a bright light for them. This is much bigger than the game.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah. And I have coached many kids over the years that, for example, doing instruction, when the parents are around, you see a different kid. If it just happens to where I get that kid one-on-one and the parents aren't in the building, I see a different kid.
Yeah.
And that relationship that I have with those kids, those type of kids that have that sort of situation, maybe at home, the game doesn't even compare to how valuable that time together is.
Yeah.
Doesn't even compare, and that's, again,
because the impact that you're making on them as a person will stay with them longer than whatever game.
Yeah. And the truth is, like, I'm even going to my expectations, my level of patience, a lot of that sort of stuff may be a little bit different with those athletes in those type of situations. The tone of voice, what I let slide, what I maybe not let slide with someone else, I may let slide with that kid. Like, these kids are all different situations, different abilities, different levels of aptitude. So we have to be really good at coaches at knowing how to handle or treat them as individuals.
Yeah. Next is development is a process. The process requires patience and opportunity and plenty of it.
So the process of development, of growth, it never ends.
Yeah. I was just going to say this is like
the guys in the big leagues are still working to get better every day.
Yeah.
It never ends. And the term trust the process is thrown around so loosely by coaches that I think that they are, one, repeating it because they've heard other people say it. But 2, I don't think they quite understand what it means.
Yeah. The depth of it.
Development requires opportunity. For anybody to get better at anything, they need opportunity. They need a chance to do it. To go back to what we talked to in the last podcast about coaches calling pitches, a coach says he uses that tactic to help kids learn how to call pitches. But if they never allow the kids to do it on their own, that development is not working the way that the coaches think it is.
Or if he allows them and then they don't call what he thinks they should call, and then he starts calling again, that's not really teaching them.
Yeah. So for the kids to get better at anything, they need opportunity. And that's what development is. It's what the process is. The goal is that from day 1 of the season to the last day, we want to see growth in all the kids in some fashion. Now, it may be quicker in some than others, but again, that's the goal, period.
Yeah. A few more here. Next one reads, it says, read your audience. Know when it's time to move on. Once we lose their attention, everything we want them to hear will go in one ear and out the other.
The attention span is very short the younger they are.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking with a kid and I notice that their eyes start wandering to stuff that's behind me, if they're starting to look at teammates, look at the ground, look up to the sky,
Look at the clock.
If we're in a building and I see them, I was just going to say that if we're in the building and I see them, their eyes wander to the clock, I know it's time for me to stop.
Yeah.
Even if I say, hey, listen to me for another minute, I better keep it at a minute.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've lost them. So I need to get good at reading that body language, reading the eye contact to know when it's time to move on to the next thing.
I have attention span issues. It's no joke. Anyway, a couple more. Next one says, be careful of getting caught up in the emotions of the moment. We need to remain calm and focused to make clear-minded decisions.
So especially when things aren't going well, that's when our players need us the most. They need stability. They need clarity. They need someone who can give them good advice in the moment, not someone who is so overly frustrated about what's happening that they all of a sudden have lost focus on what should happen next or what we want to happen next. So as the adults in the room, we need to be the smarter, more prepared ones, right? Again, don't take the game too serious. Understand that they're playing a really hard game and be the support and guidance that they need in that moment, not someone that's doing exactly what they're doing and that's getting too emotional about all the chaos that's happening.
Yeah. Last one. It's their game. Our playing days are long over. We are the lucky ones to get to be a part of their journey. Be grateful for it and be the best possible leader we can for them.
As coaches, the only reason we get to coach is because of them.
Right.
If they weren't there, we wouldn't get to coach.
Yeah.
They're not there for us. We're there for them. So keeping that in mind at all times would hopefully help give us a little bit better perspective. And I'll use that word again, more clarity on what we're doing and why we're doing it. Right. And I think honestly, using that, like we as coaches need to always remember what our why is. Why do we coach? Why are we there? What are we hoping to instill or teach these players? And can they carry it on with them in their life past the game?
So what do you say to the people that say the performance of the team is a reflection of the coach? Because I would want to do a good job as a coach, not so people think I'm a good coach, but so my team can perform well. But if they don't perform well, like I'm taking that on I'm not doing a very good job.
Well, the harsh reality about how a team performs.
I mean, even in the big leagues, like the manager's fired if there's a losing season.
That season is a little bit, or that level is a little bit different. I mean, those guys, they're all talented. They're literally the best in the world.
Right. Yeah.
So there are some leadership things at that level that can, some choices that can dictate.
Maybe politics a little bit.
Yeah, but that can dictate kind of how a season goes. But when you're at the younger ages, you have to remember that these kids, almost almost all of them are not going to be professional athletes.
Right.
They just were not born with that ability.
Yeah. Not many are.
So when it comes to the performance of a team, a coach has to be very careful of thinking that it's a reflection on them.
Okay.
Because again, these are not world star athletes.
Okay.
Right? You're going to get what you get. You may do some things to help these kids improve on whatever God gave them, but judging a team's performance on the coach alone,
Mhm.
I'd be very careful of doing
Is that like a cop out? Oh, it's poor coaching.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That definitely can be
Okay.
the adults throwing blame on the coaches for how a team performs, definitely pointing fingers.
So then if a team is successful, is it more of just like the talent that coach happens to get on that team?
Yeah, and that's
Some
like,
of it is coaching because you can coach people
like what
up,
you
but
just said right there is kind of like that's what high school sports is.
Okay.
High school sports is who's coming into the program and who's leaving.
Mhm.
Like you don't get to pick those players.
Yeah.
It's literally who lives in the area, right?
Yeah.
Who lives in that area that's going to go to the school, and some areas just happen to be like Linda, where Brookie goes. Like there's consistently good programs there. Does it mean that the
Yeah.
coaching in all their sports is amazing? There might be some really good ones, right?
Mm.
But there's a continual flow of really good athletes in the area. Period. Like
Yeah.
if somebody wants to deny that,
Yeah.
like they're not understanding just how the world works.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot of great programs out there that have not great leadership, right?
Yeah.
But they have strong performance because they just have really talented athletes.
Yeah. It's kind of like it is and it isn't a reflection of the coach because a coach can do good things and bad things, but I don't know, a coach can coach them up, can coach their players up the best to their ability. So I feel like there is some reflection on the coach and the coaching.
Well,
But you shouldn't use it as a cop-out either, like, oh, it's poor coaching or, man, he must be a good coach. Look how good their team is doing or whatever.
The biggest reflection of a coach, in my opinion, especially at these younger ages up into high school, is how the team plays the game, how they handle themselves in the dugout, how they go about practice, how they handle warm-ups, like the culture that the coaches establish and maintain and require. That, to me, is where the biggest impact of coaching is at the younger ages.
It's the culture.
I mean, like literally the people that you're developing, the people that come out of the program, that team, that organization, that school, when the coaches put so much emphasis on character, on culture, that is what they're, in my opinion, what they'll be remembered for, right? You may see stats, win-loss record, all that stuff, but if you get people rolling through that team in that program who come out good people, more prepared for life, smarter, more respectful, respect their teammates, respect their opponents.
Mm-hmm.
That, in my opinion, that is more of the reflection on the coaching than what the win-loss record is. That's just my opinion. People may see it different. Professional sports is a little bit different animal because of I don't think people realize how good those athletes are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the best player in your city, the best player at your school. I mean, we're talking the best players in your state.
Yeah.
The best players in the country, not the best players in your little town.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a big difference. The level of ability at those professional levels is like what I don't think most people can fathom.
I feel like the more effortless an athlete makes their sport look, the better the athlete they are. When they make it just look like anybody could do it, I feel like their ability is just times 100.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing
than the average Joe.
I think the hardest thing for a lot of people to understand and really accept is that I really feel like you're born with it. You're born with that sort of ability.
There's definitely something, I mean, we were talking about the other day, it's the whole it factor. It's the thing you can't, like, and I'm talking about like when shortstop like scoops it up and flings it over to first and it just easy peasy. Anybody could do that. No,
or even like
not anybody can do
watching
that.
someone run, like say like a Olympic level sprinter, their bodies just flow.
Yeah. They're light on their feet.
We could teach you how to run like that. Would you look like that?
No.
You wouldn't be able to run that fast, right? Even when you were at that age. It's literally I think people were born to do some of these things.
And it's not like they're all prodigies.
Yeah.
But
that's
it's almost like there's a prodigy-like factor within those people, and that's the thing, the unteachable thing that you just have, and you're able to develop it over the years, and it gets you to those higher levels. Now, that's not to say that somebody can't improve on stuff. You can train to run faster and hit harder and jump higher, and you can train for all those things. But sometimes it's that thing that you weren't born with.
I heard someone say,
It's just unfortunate for some.
I heard a guru say once that you can teach anybody to throw 90 miles an hour. I hear that stuff and I just start laughing. I'm like, I don't know who you're
Where's
fooling.
it going to go?
Well, but no, like they're literally only
you could give me pitching lessons for the rest of my life and I'm still not. But maybe that's the difference between like being competitive and a competitor, whatever. Like there is a difference.
Yeah.
There's an athlete and then there's somebody who's athletic.
Yeah.
There is a difference. 1 million, like I'll die on that hill. There is a difference. And there are just some things that you can't teach a person.
Yeah.
They just have it.
Yeah. Okay. Good talk.
Okay.
Moving on.
No baseball 101 today.
Not today.
That's okay though.
But we are going to talk about our first year in Japan.
Yes.
This was the year 2006.
Yes. We had our second child the previous year, August of the previous season.
So he wasn't even one yet.
Wasn't even one.
Traveled overseas.
Well, so at some point during the off season, the offer came in and we were talking about it. You and your agent were going back and forth with the team, came to an agreement, signed the contract. Was it a 1-year contract?
1-year contract.
Okay. One season. Like 1 year doesn't mean 365 days. It's one season.
Yeah. And
spring training through whatever.
Yeah. Contracts with foreign players like that. I think it's a little bit different with bringing foreigners over to Major League Baseball.
Okay.
In Japan, you're limited to 4 foreign players on your Major League roster.
That's right. I do remember that.
So there's different rules that make kind of the negotiating process a little bit different.
Okay.
And I think because it is so far away, so like they paid for all of our flights over there.
Yeah.
They paid for our living expenses.
Well, like our utilities and where we live.
Yeah. They took care of all of that.
Did we pay for our cell phones?
Possibly.
Like they got them for us and set them up and handed them to us and said, here's your phone.
You might be right on that one.
I feel like somehow we ended up paying the bill.
Yeah, it wasn't expensive. Like we also paid for our train passes.
Yeah, we bought our transportation and like our food. It was like our rent and utilities were paid.
Yes.
And all of that was set up.
Correct. Yeah.
But as far as like day-to-day groceries and, stuff like that, transportation, we paid for that.
Yeah. So to jump into the season, I think that I left mid to late January and I flew over there on my own, and spring training, I wanted to look it up. I can't remember, but it was in South Japan. So Japan, it's obviously an island, but it's
like a long, narrow island.
So the northern part of the country is lots of mountains and snow and cold.
Okay.
And the south
is not.
Yeah, so all the spring training sites for all the teams were down there.
Okay.
So I don't remember the name of the city, but I think I flew into Tokyo and then took another flight down there to another town in the south, and then they picked me up at the airport and drove me over to the hotel. So spring training was about 2 months long, which it was a little bit longer than what American spring trainings were.
Was there 1 or 2 other Americans with you?
So it was myself, Alex,
Well, he
Jeff,
was the second year.
Alex, no, he was there both years.
Okay. And this was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so our memories are not.
And then one other. You're thinking of Jason, and Jason was there the second year.
Okay.
But anyways, we went down there, and really nice hotel, like right on the ocean.
Mm.
And it wasn't they weren't like big waves, so maybe we're on like a bay or something, a bay to the ocean. But nice hotel, and they gave us breakfast was at the hotel, dinner was at the hotel, and I think we had lunch like at the field.
Okay.
So they gave us every meal of the day was there. We all ate as a team. The food was delicious, but there were definitely some things that were different. Like their scrambled eggs, for example, were very kind of like runny.
Liquidy.
They were liquidy, and it's not what we were used to over here.
Or having more of a savory breakfast.
Yeah, for sure.
Not like pancakes with syrup and toast with jelly.
And they did have their version of pancakes.
Yeah.
And
I feel like there's more like rice and fish, and there's soup and like.
Yeah. They did have fish head soup.
Yeah.
I always thought that one was interesting. I don't think I ever tried it. Literally a head and there were eyeballs.
Start gagging.
But for sure got introduced to some different types of food, which I know that both you and I feel the same, and we would love to go back over there someday just to eat.
eat our way through the
Just
country.
go over there and do a food tour.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really fun thing to do.
Well, because when we were over there, like you were working, and although their schedule allowed for 1 day off a week, that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
The first year our kids were so little, and you're in a different country, you don't speak the language. Like, just to like sum it up, a lot of stuff like felt like a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
But it was because we weren't used to the way of life over there.
Yeah.
That's kind of, in my mind, that's kind of what it came down to. It felt like a hassle, but it was because it just different country, different culture, different way of doing things. And we were not used to it.
Yeah. But back to spring training real quick. So like the Japanese are notorious for extreme training.
Okay.
For example, when they run a lot.
Okay.
When they take fungo ground balls, they take a lot. Right. Over here in America, you hear a lot about quality over quantity, meaning, 20 good reps is better than 50 less focused reps. Right. So, but over there, they hammer it. I mean, you'll hear about.
You need 50 good reps.
You hear about guys doing 30 hill sprints versus 10 short, quick ones. One extreme that I remember was we had, I think, 2 or 3 different fields. And first of all, our spring training fields, the infield was all dirt.
A dirt infield.
Dirt, completely dirt.
Okay.
And they still have some of, like a lot of their major league fields have all dirt infields. Yeah, that's different. But one of the fields, even the outfield was dirt. It was literally just this huge area of all dirt.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just maintenance stuff. But they had a fence. And I remember they had probably 5 or 6 catchers. And they do, so in Japan, we have 1 minor league team.
Yeah.
In America, we have,
a lot.
4, 5, 6. Over there, they have 1.
Okay.
So they have their minor league catchers and their big league catchers. I want to say all their catchers were here in spring training because there's so many pitchers to catch. But they would have the catchers doing these like slide blocking drills where they would drop and slide to the side, and then slide and go to the other side. And they would do this all the way around the outfield fence, all the way. So these guys were doing this sliding all the way. I mean, they must have done hundreds.
Like from pole to pole?
No, from home plate all the way down the line, all the way around the outfield fence, all the way down.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
So like, again, you want to talk about extreme.
And then they'd go back like the other way and have to go back
I think
around?
it was just one time all the way around. Still, that's
Louise.
Plenty.
Excessive.
Very excessive. But again, that's how you
get good at something.
That's the culture. That's how they're brought up.
Yeah.
And I even remember so our star pitcher, and some people that listen to this might know the name, but Daisuke Matsuzaka, he ended up pitching for the Red Sox over here for a few years. But every year in spring training, he would have what they would call like a marathon bullpen where he would throw like over 200 pitches in a bullpen.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah. And that was his way of getting ready, because over there, their expectation is every game they go into, the expectation is to pitch off a complete game. So all 9 innings.
The expectation or like the goal?
The goal. And they didn't, like Daisuke was notorious for 140, 150 pitches in the start.
And what is that? Not very many?
That's a lot.
That a lot? Okay,
That's a lot.
Okay.
Like in America, they especially now, they rarely let guys throw over 100 pitches in the start.
Okay.
So, but again, that was the goal, was to throw complete games.
Okay.
So I think.
So his preparation was, I'm going to set myself up to pitch the whole game every single time.
So he's working on stamina. He's working on, just what his body needs to be ready for the beginning of the season to do that. So it makes sense in that way, why he would do that.
Yeah.
And again, it's in a bullpen session. It's not in a game. It's not with hitters in the box.
And if he's not having any negativity with his body,
but again, he's been doing this his whole life. Right. Daisuke got his fame over there because over there, high school baseball is huge. Like every year they have this national high school tournament.
Okay.
To where they all play in the Hanshin Tiger Stadium. It's a huge stadium. I got to pitch there once, I think. Mm-hmm. But when he was in high school, I think his senior in high school, he pitched his team. He threw on like back-to-back days, complete games. Yeah. So anyways, he was a superstar over there. He ended up, coming over here and doing, not having the same success he had over there. I think he ended up blowing his elbow out. Probably has something to do with all that he did in Japan.
Maybe.
But again, to get back to that, there was definitely some extreme things they did in training that was very different than what we did as Americans, and they would take it easy on us Americans because they knew we weren't used to that
So
type
I
of
was
stuff.
just going to ask, did they
Yeah.
let you guys just keep your normal training?
They let us do whatever we wanted, to be honest.
Okay. They're like,
if
do whatever you
you
do.
throw a bullpen, you do what your bullpen is.
Okay.
You know, today we're running sprints, you do whatever you feel you need.
Was there?
And
Did
to
you
be-
feel any animosity?
No, I think the guys were used to it. And again,
That's
I
just
mean,
how it was.
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
I'm sure
Maybe they
I'm
just
sure there were
knew.
some guys that didn't like it, but nobody really showed it
Yeah.
towards us.
Americans trained
Yeah,
differently,
and you know, we're over there and we're just, you know, getting to know our teammates, and you know, just I love those guys. They were great. They were all, you know, had all great attitudes and just good people.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so spring training was 2 months long.
Mhm.
I don't remember how many innings I threw in spring training, but when we finally, we must have flew back to where our town was. Tokorozawa was where our town, the name of the
Mhm.
city that our stadium was in.
Mhm.
And our apartment was in a little area called Tanashi.
Yeah.
Or at least that was the name of our
that
train
was our
station.
train station.
But I think that area was called Tanashi.
Yeah. Tanashi.
Yeah. That's what they would say on the train. So we got there, and I believe that I got into the apartment before you got
Mhm.
there. Okay. So at some
I
point,
think shortly, but I mean, it was furnished.
yeah,
It's not like you had to move stuff in or anything, but I think you got there before we did, but I don't think by much, because we were trying to maximize our time
Mhm.
together. And I think like families weren't allowed at spring training. It was something like
yeah,
that
might
because
be right. I don't remember seeing any other families there.
yeah, because it was like, okay, you're going to go. We're going to be apart for a bit. Families don't go to spring training, whether they're not allowed or they don't go. I don't
Mhm.
know. But there was something like that.
Mm.
And then, yeah, you were at the apartment before we were, but I don't think by much.
Yeah. So we get back to, or not get back to, but they take us to our hometown,
Mm-hmm.
get set up in the apartment. I have no idea how long there is between when that happens and when the first game is. I don't even remember how long I was there for before you came. I don't remember any of those
Yeah.
details.
Well, I think you knew where I don't know.
I got to know the area a little bit, and probably because the translator kind of took me around and showed me some of that stuff.
Okay, that's right. We as in the Americans, but it
Yeah.
was the players, not each family. There was a translate available for you guys,
Yeah.
especially at work
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they had all of us Americans in the same apartment complex
building.
building. Yeah, it wasn't,
Wasn't a very big
it wasn't
building.
No, it was just, yeah. I think there was 2 levels, 3 levels. Yeah, I don't remember, but
Yeah,
I remember
I think there were 3.
Yeah, I remember so when the first time we got there, we were with our translator and we were all walking through. Right outside the train station was like a big kind of almost like convenient, like there's a grocery store on one level.
Mhm.
Levels above that are like household goods. There might have been a clothing level.
It was like a mall building. Everything was up and down. It
Yeah.
wasn't a mall like we have here where it's
Yeah.
spread out on 1 or 2 levels. It was like 10 stories high.
Yeah.
And there was a grocery store in the basement level.
That's right.
And then, yeah, household goods, clothing, baby stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, like a department store.
I think that's what I was looking for, department store.
Yeah, department store.
Yeah, I remember the first term I used was Toide Wadoko.
Yeah. Where's the toilet?
Where's the bathroom? Yeah, that was it, because I remember being in that building and having our translator there, and I would ask him, like, where's a restroom?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, how do you say that?
Yeah.
So like we tried to learn.
Well, then on the signs it says toilet.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say, it
Yeah, there
doesn't
was
say restroom. It doesn't say bathroom, ladies' room. It's toilet. Where's the toilet?
Yeah.
It's basically what you're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys get there, and that first year, the second year we had bicycles, but that first year we did not have bikes or a car.
Right.
So everywhere we got there by walking or by train.
It's,
Or-
and
or
both, because you had to
Taxi
walk
every once in a while.
once.
But I'm saying there were a few times we were in a taxi.
I remember once taking a taxi the first year, and then like from the airport to the apartment was like a couple hours. So there was somebody picked us up, me, the boys, and our friends that flew with me picked us up and drove us to the apartment. I remember that day you had some kind of like press thing
Mm.
because everybody was in suits, and it was like, are you going to be there when I get there? And you were like, I hope so. And it worked out, and you were, and it was, it all kind of worked out, but that was a long day.
Yeah.
That was a long day. I had never flown overseas. We had never been like out of the country before. It was just like,
Well, the good thing is that it was a direct flight
Yes.
from Portland to Tokyo.
So 11 hours.
11 hours. So it was 11 there because we were against the wind. But on the way back,
8
with
on
the
the way
wind,
back.
it was 8.
Yeah.
A few years later, and we'll get to this another season, but when I was in Taiwan, there was multiple stops. And that was like a 20...
That was even longer. I just remember...
But it was like a 22, 24-hour travel day in all.
I feel like on the way back, I think it was 22 hours.
Yeah.
I just remember that. And it was very, very long. Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about that season.
Yeah. But, some of my most memorable things from that season, I did set a record. I think it was for a foreign player starting the season 5-0. So that season I started, I think it was in like my first 6 or 7 starts. I don't know if it was my first 5 starts, but anyways, I started 5-0 and set some sort of record, I guess, that had never been done before. But my season over there was even kind of up and down. The style of play was a little bit different. I think being in a foreign country, some of the stuff that we were dealing with off the field with, little ones and little ones' health, I think there was a lot of distractions, which compared to the few seasons before, my performance was not as consistent. It's like it started well, but like we'll read our stats here in a little bit. You'll see that I started 5-0, but my season record didn't finish that great if you think about starting 5-0.
Yeah.
But, traveling over there, I think there was only a couple cities that we flew to. Besides that, a lot of the cities that we went to, we took a bullet train, which was kind of a cool experience. I don't know how fast those trains go.
Fast.
150,
I don't know, but
or
it's
something.
fast.
Yeah, but that was a unique experience. We got to do a bunch of fun things over there. I think we went to a zoo where we were in a train and there were like...
So we went to the Tama Zoo.
Okay.
Tama.
Okay, I'm glad you remember that.
It must have been our first year because I remember a picture of us. We have the double stroller. And Zachary looks really little.
Which traveling by feet and by train with a double stroller.
Yeah.
Going up and down elevators because there's lots of stairs everywhere. Was not easy.
No, it definitely was not easy. But before I forget, the zoo, what you're thinking of is that you were able to be in this little tram and you went down into the lion enclosure. And it was basically just this cement pit where the lions were. And they would put raw meat on hooks by the windows.
Oh, that's right.
And drive up next to these little platforms. The lions knew exactly what to do. The lions were on the platform. We drive right up next to it. And the lion's like on the window, like you are face to face. You could see the iris of the lion. Like you are face to face with this lion and he's eating this, raw chicken off the hook of the bus. And all you have is a window. But it was cool because when else are you ever going to be face to face with a lion like that? That's what you're thinking of. Yeah.
So we also went to Tokyo Disney.
Yeah, both seasons.
We went to, we did both seasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, because the second season, Jess and Jonah came out to visit and we took them.
Yeah.
And we had gone the first year. And Tokyo Disney, as far as I understand, it's an exact replica of Disneyland in California. Like, apparently, I mean, I don't know for sure, but probably except for the smoking spaces. But yeah, an exact replica. And there's English everywhere. Like the uniforms are the same. All the employees speak English. So it was kind of nice because it was like, oh, we're at Disneyland and you didn't have to worry about communication and any of that kind of stuff. And the boys were, even though they were like 1 and 3, they were into all the stuff, Buzz Lightyear and, just all the Disney things, Nemo and all the stuff.
There was also an aquarium that we went to. It had like a dolphin show indoors. There was a dolphin show.
That was I can't remember that may have been the first season we were there, but yeah, we did go. I do remember that.
We went to Shinjuku, which...
A lot. No, hang on.
We went there a few times.
Hang on. Shibuya.
What's Shinjuku?
That was Shinjuku was another train stop that was very busy.
Okay.
Lots of shopping, a very busy metropolitan area. And then Shibuya is
that the big crosswalk?
World famous for their big crosswalk. I think it was even in like Tokyo Drift, the Fast and Furious. It's been in several movies.
Yeah.
But then that's where it's one of the reasons it's famous is because that's where the there was a dog there.
What was the dog's
and
name? We got a picture in front of it, the statue.
I don't remember now.
Okay.
I don't remember the dog's name. Something about the owner. The owner went through that train station and like the dog just like waited for the owner there. And I don't remember the whole story, but there's a few reasons why that area is famous. And
Yeah.
it's like the biggest or busiest crosswalk in the world. Like all the lights go red and then there's just a big,
Yeah, everybody crosses at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So what is your favorite food that you remember from over there?
I don't really know,
Okay.
honestly.
So I
mean,
remember it was...
I didn't adventure with the food. I
well,
wasn't like,
So we had shabu shabu,
yeah.
which I remember really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
Boiling broths almost, and
Yeah.
you have thinly sliced meat and vegetables.
Meats and veggies. You
rice
cook in
and
the.
some really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we have ever found better Indian food than what
Yeah.
we found over there. There was a little hole in the wall place right next to our train station.
Gosh.
That it was
I would go
amazing.
back just for that if that
Yeah.
little place was still there.
Yeah, I can still taste
You had to
it.
walk down in the
Yeah.
train station, go up and over the tracks, and then walk back down the stairs on the other side. And it was this little door.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was called, but it
Yeah,
was
so good.
so good. And it was probably a 10-minute walk just to the train station. So it was a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
And then you had to walk it all the way back. I mean,
Yeah.
I would do it. I would go just for that. It was so, so, so good.
Yeah. Their little ramen shops were really good.
Everywhere.
So, and the ramen that they have over there is definitely different than the ramen we have here.
Of course.
They had this one little, and it was almost like a what we would call fast food, but it was a chain over there that would be rice with thinly sliced beef and, like some
Some type of curry.
No.
No.
Onions, but it was really good. I don't remember what the dish is called. They have it here at the place that we go to here that has really good Japanese food. Yeah, but lots of little types of food that were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like their snacky type food was very different than our snacky food here.
Yes. 7-Elevens are huge over there. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember how many 7-Elevens there were.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And with some candies and stuff, but like
Mhm.
then the other Japanese quick fast food, like the little triangles of rice with the little bits of seaweed or some type of fish in the middle.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a quick grab. And,
Yeah.
Of course they had, McDonald's over there. And
What about Mr. Donut?
there was, oh, hold on. Before we talk about Mr. Donut, there was another little place. I feel like it was more of a coffee shop, but I remember going there and they had these like hot dogs that the boys absolutely loved. And like,
yeah.
do you remember? It was
Yeah.
kind of down by the train station.
Mhm.
And like you could get some coffee and like a little, maybe it was like a cheese toast or I don't really know, but they
Yeah.
had these hot dogs and it was like,
They weren't regular hot dogs.
they
though.
weren't regular hot dogs.
No.
They were like not a corn dog for sure.
It's almost
It
like
was-
a Polish.
yeah,
some sort of
it was like a
Polish
long,
sausage.
slim
Yeah.
meat in a bun.
Yeah.
And I remember, it was just super easy to get for the boys, especially
Yeah.
Christopher. It was super, you could go in and you sit down in a little booth and eat, and it was like a way to get out of the apartment a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, Mr. Donut, I'd
So
go back
good.
for Mr. Donut too.
Yeah.
Why are they have Mr. Donuts
I don't
here? I
know.
don't understand.
I don't know. That
Is
was
it a Japanese thing?
I
Chain?
don't know. We'll have to do a little
Those
research.
the best. The best donuts. If anybody ever wants the best donuts in the world, go to
Yeah.
Mr. Donut.
So
in
a couple baseball things before we wrap this up.
Okay.
So a couple things that are done a little bit different in their style of game.
Yeah.
So we say 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah.
They say 2 strikes and 3 balls.
Yeah.
So they have their balls and strikes flipped.
Flipped.
So that took me a little bit to get used to.
Yeah. Just like
They-
looking at the scoreboard.
Yeah,
Like,
just how you would say it, like
Yeah.
how they would say it. They also had a break in the middle of the game,
They did.
like almost like a halftime.
But it wasn't long.
It was like a 5 or 10 minute break.
and a 7-inning stretch.
It drove me crazy because I like to work quick. It
Yeah.
took me a little bit to get used to
You're like, I don't need a break.
I think it was either the middle of the 5th inning or after the 5th inning. And I'd go out there to go like, oh, nobody else is coming. I got to go back in. So they would use that time to fix the field if needed. All the teams had cheerleaders. The cheerleaders would come out and do their little performance, and all the players would go back behind the dugout and have a smoke break.
Yeah.
So
It's what every
very-
professional athlete does mid-game is go
Yeah.
have a cig.
yeah. So on the point of cheerleaders,
Yeah.
so each team had their own cheering section.
Well, there
Which-
were actual cheerleaders
Yep. So there's a
on the field.
cheerleader.
Yeah. And then there were the fan section.
Yep.
I don't want to say cheerleaders, but a group, like a fan club, almost like a team fan club. It was a group of fans, and you sat in this one section at the stadium, and they had huge flags and instruments. And they practiced and rehearsed the cheers.
They had different cheers for all the players.
Okay.
They had different. So like if I had done something, they would have a cheer that had my name in it.
Okay.
That they had the whole stadium singing.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. The rest of the fans joined in. Now,
whether it was just standing up and clapping or even, or,
or what are they called? The things that are filled with air that you, it's not a thunder stick, but you clap it together.
I think they were called some sort of thunder something.
Some kind of stick. Okay. Thunder claps or something. But we probably should say the boys and I did not go to many games.
Yeah. You guys would stay home and watch a lot of them on TV.
So like their big league games were televised, which was nice because in the past, I mean, we would go to all your games, whether you were playing or coaching, but in the minor leagues, they're not televised. And it was a hassle to go to the game because it was like a 50 minutes. So you have a 10-minute walk to the train station, a 50-minute train ride. Meanwhile, you're having to switch trains at some point in there. And then, you get there and you find your seats. There's nobody to sit with. So it's literally just me and the boys watching. Meanwhile, they're 3-1, not really conducive to just sitting in the seat and like watching. And the games were so packed that, we had been used to like having maybe a couple empty rows next to us where somebody could have a little space. And that just wasn't the case here. And you stick out like a sore thumb, which made me a little bit uncomfortable at times because you could just feel everybody watching you. Yeah. And then I'm just there. I've got to keep them together. Christopher's walking a lot for a 3-year-old. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then, Zachary's in the stroller because he's 1 or maybe not even 1. Like he turned 1 in August when we were over there. And, it was just, we're not used to that way of life. So staying home and having it on TV, I could still watch. If you were pitching, we would watch. But then we could also still do like dinner time at a regular time or bath time or go down the walking path to the park, or, I just found ways to kind of fill some of that time when you weren't home. And then, I feel like you were home early enough to help with bedtime sometimes, maybe. But if you weren't, I could still do like bedtime routine at kind of a decent or normal hour.
We had 1 day off a week, which I think was Mondays. But also, part of both seasons I was there, I was on the minor league team for a little bit. So when you're on the minor league team, your games are at like 1.
Right.
So your games are in the middle of the day. So I was always home that evening.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking of. So
it was a much better schedule. Even, I mean, you're being on the minor league team, but you're gone kind of for that middle, like 2/3 of the day, which is kind of as a stay-at-home mom, I would consider that an easier part of the day because you're just busy the whole time. And, we didn't even mention that we had met another American who had opened a preschool with a friend of his who was from New Zealand, and their preschool was to teach Japanese kids English. And so, they're Americans, so you become friendly with them.
Was he from Boston?
Yeah, he like constantly in Red Sox clothes. Christopher, at one point, at least for the first year, he started going to the preschool. So then we had a little bit of a routine, morning commute to the school, and then have to go back and get him. And, one of the other players had a son the similar age. So we would kind of, quote unquote, carpool, where one of us would take the kids and the other one would then go back. Because even that was not the most convenient trip. It took at least an hour round trip, I would say, when it came to, again, walking down to the train station, doing the train, and then coming back. By the time you get home, it's probably been an hour because then there's also wait times between the trains and whatever. But you fall into a routine, you find systems that make it work. We had a couple different grocery stores. We started having regular meals, learning how to grocery shop, because even that you have to do differently because you don't have an American refrigerator. The refrigerator is narrow and tall with a freezer at the bottom. So there's not really ways to keep, gallons of milk and tons of produce. Like it really is, you go to the store pretty much every day, every other day. And, you can't stock the freezer and have Costco-sized bundles of toilet paper. Like it's a different way of life over there. So we just had to really learn how to do a lot of stuff differently, find different routines and different systems and figure out a way.
Yeah. Well, I do know this, that, we were very blessed with that opportunity.
100%.
Even though things were not easy at times, it's still like looking back on it, that was.
And I do not remember anything about it being a negative experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we were together. We had a couple other Americans that we, could be friendly with. And again, we finally found routines that worked for us and kind of had a normal way of living over there. I would say it was a positive. I mean, I want to go back.
Oh yeah.
I don't really want to go back to Taiwan. I don't really have a desire to go back there.
Yeah.
But, and again, we'll talk about that on another episode. But, even having I feel like I remember our apartment, by American standards, it wasn't huge, but it had 2 bedrooms. So each boy had their own bedroom, which was nice. And then they had gotten us a king size bed, which I guess is unheard of over there. So you and I had plenty of space. We had this big, it was a box TV, but it was like a big screen TV. And, they had all the utilities set up for us as far as electricity. And they even remember our dryer was not vented. We did not have a vent for the dryer.
Was it in the bathroom?
Yeah. But it wasn't vented. So we started doing it the Japanese way and hanging our clothes up outside to dry on the patio. And, just finding ways to make it work. Found little stores that we liked to go to. And I think at one point we found a baby type store where there was baby foods and baby clothes and, because it's not like it is over here. There was no Target that has everything, Yeah, it was definitely experience. I'm sure our conversation is jumping around all over the place too. And our memories are bouncing around, things we're forgetting.
Well, in the next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about stats. We'll combine this season and the next season's stats in the next episode. But yeah, playing over there was, it was a life-changing contract, life-changing experience. And, from a baseball player and, eventually a coach, I would say that I learned some things about the game over there that I brought back with me over here. That we can talk more about that later.
We'll have to make a note so we don't forget.
Okay.
Remember, make notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.